Across the Gambia and around the world, this is Atlantic TV News Review broadcasting from studios in Farah to West Coast region. Out of stories this hour, a survey conducted by Afrobarometer says majority of Gambians disapproves of Barrow's performance. The National Assembly erupts into chaos after Speaker ejects UDP lawmaker. APP's Gumbo Toure says unified political force needed to effect change. I from home, Sudan's foreign minister discusses government's plan to end civil conflict. And we take a look at migration as movement, resilience, and search for opportunity define the story of intra-African migrants. These and much more coming ahead with me, Alagie Mbye. Many thanks for joining us. Now, a recent Afrobarometer survey report has indicated that 62% of Gambians disapprove of President Adama Barrow's performance. This discontent stems from perceived failures in governance, particularly regarding economic management and anti-corruption efforts, which have not met public expectations. The combination of economic challenges and a lack of significant reforms have led to increased public disillusionment with the Barrow administration. According to the report shared with journalists, a majority of Gambians disapprove of the way the president, that's 62%, members of parliament, 65%, and local government councillors, 60%, have performed their jobs over the past 12 months. It revealed that more than 3/4, that is 77% of Gambians, says the country is heading in the wrong direction, a 48% increase since 2018. The report added that only about 2 in 10 Gambians, which is 90%, described the country's economic condition as fairly good or very good, a 39-point drop since 2018, 58% then. While more than 2/3, 68%, believe peace and security in the country have deteriorated. However, majority of Gambians report improvements during President Barrow's tenure with regards to freedom of speech, that is 80%, youth participation in politics, 69%, women's participation in politics, 67%, respect for human rights, 65%, and preservation of law and order, 55%. Health, increased cost of living, crime, and security are the top 3 most important problems that citizens want the government to address. According to the report, citizens believed that the economic situation of the country has worsened compared to 2018 and called for swift intervention by government. Moving on, proceedings at the National Assembly stopped for an hour after opposition lawmaker Suleiman Saho was ordered to leave the parliament following a clash with Speaker Fabakary Tombong Jatta, who accused him of disruption. Speaker Jatta said Saho acted in a disorderly manner and has persistently and willfully obstructed the business of the National Assembly before asking him to immediately leave the chambers. The brawl erupted after Sabah representative Babu Sise asked the speaker to bring Saho to order, who he said was making so much noise. Speaker Jatta accepted Sise's request and asked for Saho to stay quiet and calm. In response, Saho said Sise, who asked the speaker to bring him to order, was himself making noise to the extent of beating up his table. He told the speaker, "If you want me to be calm, you have to be fair with me and treat me equal." Speaker Jatta was infuriated. He told Saho that the rule in parliament is that when other members are talking, everyone should be silent. I can act on that, but I will not tolerate this from you. Jatta fumed. Nam Saho interjected and could be heard making his counter-arguments to the speaker. The speaker charged, "Don't talk until I ask you. I give you the order to talk." But Saho refused to take his seat while continuing with his argument. Speaker Jatta charged again, "Honorable member, please be quiet. You must learn to discipline yourself. You cannot be shouting at me. If you misbehave again, I will send you out." Nam Saho eventually took his seat, but the speaker was heard telling one of his parliamentary aides to give him the relevant standing order because he was ready to send the lawmaker out of the chambers. After several minutes, the Speaker announced that as per the provisions of the standing order, he was ordering Saho to leave the assembly, but Saho refused to vacate his seat. The Speaker then called the attention of the Sergeant-at-Arms, the officer responsible for maintaining order in the parliament, to escort Nam Saho out. Tensions flared as the sergeant approached Saho to ask him to comply with the Speaker's order to vacate the assembly. Several other Nams camped around him to show solidarity. Other lawmakers were seen involved in a scramble with the officers, while others were blocking the way with chairs. After several unsuccessful attempts to get the lawmaker out, the Speaker in a raised voice ordered Sergeant-at-Arms, please get him out or go and get reinforcement. The Speaker also asked other Nams trooped around Saho to take their seats, but they refused. The Sergeant-at-Arms left the chambers to get reinforcement and soon came with 2 paramilitary police officers. But the officers were prevented from reaching Saho, who was surrounded by opposition and independent lawmakers. As tensions intensified, the officers left the chambers unable to eject the lawmaker. Lawmakers from both sides and other parliamentary staff were seen engaging Saho to leave. The Sergeant-at-Arms rushed to the Speaker to purportedly inform him of his inability to carry out his order. After repeated disruptions and oral fisticuffs, Saho eventually left the chambers on his own. He was escorted out by several Nams, including the minority leader Alagie Dabo, Bakaus Asan Toure, Latikundas Yaya Sanyang, Lower Badibus Kemo Gassama, and Birkama South Lamin Sane. Following these, a number of opposition lawmakers marched out of the assembly to show solidarity with their colleague. Central Badibu lawmaker Saho and Speaker Fabakary Tombong Jatta have clashed on several occasions in parliament before this one. They had a major clash in 2022 when Saho called for President Barrow to be summoned to appear and respond to questions from members on his State of the Nation address. Now, still on political matters, veteran educationist and founding father of the All People's Party, APP, Gumbo Toure, has said, considering the Gambia's current political trajectory, no single party can on its own outvote the incumbent. Speaking at the APP Sobea Congress in Farafenye, Dr. Toure argued that the Barrow administration is leading the Gambia on a road to nowhere and that unity is needed among parties to produce a better government in 2026 that will be more attentive to the issues and welfare of Gambians. The APP has marched with Sobea and Issa Mbye Fall endorsed as its standard bearer to challenge incumbent Adama Barrow in the 2026 presidential election. In his speech read on his behalf by Dr. Badara Toure, Gumbo said, "The political situation of this country is polarized. We have waited for too long to get this country on the right footing. Therefore, let us forge greater partnership with similar parties as a wise way to effect political change in our beloved country. In my opinion, a strong united political force on all fronts is a leverage to effect the desired political change that we are all yearning for. In this country, current political trajectory, no single party can reach the peak on its own. Unity makes you stronger in mind and as a body. This maiden alliance of APP Sobea leadership gives us the opportunity to unseat a government which has been leading us on a road to nowhere." Issa Mbye Fall, who also shared similar arguments, said it is difficult to change an incumbent government in Africa, more so in the Gambia, where all state resources are available to the president for politics, citing the Meet the People tour as a good example, which he said is a constitutional mandate carried out in a very illegal manner to garner support for the president. Being in the opposition, one is disadvantaged. The power of incumbency is too great in this country. We have seen all the scenarios that happened in the last presidential election. There was only one party that was openly distributing cooking utensils, cooking pots, and other things. That is illegal under the laws of the country. You should not do anything that will influence the vote apart from basic political canvassing. That is why it is difficult to uproot an incumbent in the Gambia. It took almost all the opposition parties to remove Jammeh in 2016. So the only political changes that we have experienced in this country happen in two ways. One is illegal and the other one, which is legal, was by a way of coalition. This is why we are always and consistently calling for a coalition, but politics is not static affairs. The wind of change is blowing and it has reached our borders, and be rest assured that come 2026 political change will happen in the Gambia, according to Alagie Mbye as reported by the Standard newspaper. Now to some agricultural activities, because the president of the Master Farmers Association has called on Gambians to venture into agriculture, describing it as the only way to ensure food security and economic growth. Sheikh Drame was speaking at his farm in Fast Chairman in the Fonyi Bundale district West Coast region. He advised farmers to do proper researches and surveys before cultivating their farms. This, he said, will guide them to make informed decisions that will promote high yield. He also called for the practice of climate-smart agriculture, citing the impact of climate change on farming. This, he added, include erratic rainfall and windstorm, among others. Drame thanked the Giraffe Project for providing some farmers